Stephen A., when I got up this morning, the highest trending thing that was connected to Last Dance was the name Gary Payton. And for those of you who didn't see it, this is the reason why. Because they interviewed Gary Payton talking about the '96 finals in which he says he, the glove, a Hall of Fame guard who is considered one of the great defensive guards that ever lived, saying he felt if he had gotten more physical with Michael earlier in those finals, maybe it would have changed the outcome. And Stephen A., Michael essentially laughs in his face, or at least laughs at the vision of his face in an iPad. What did you think of that?
Well, it didn't bother me because Michael Jordan would laugh at anybody or any notion of any one individual believing that they can guard him one-on-one. And it wasn't about Gary Payton. It's about all the pundits, the commentators, and whoever else opened their mouth to believe that the glove, as exceptional as he was as a defensive player, could guard Michael Jordan one-on-one. He averaged 27 or 42% shooting in that series, which were both lows for him in the NBA Finals. So we have to give Gary Payton the same level of respect to some degree we once gave Joe Dumars. Did you stop Michael Jordan? No. But that didn't mean you were not tougher than other people in trying to sort of limit him to some degree as best as you possibly could. That's about the best you could say about anybody that went against Michael Jordan, because as he once said when asked the question, who could stop him, he said Dean Smith. That's the only person he ever encountered who could stop him, because that was his college coach and nobody else could. So I think it's important to recognize that, but I also think it's important, and I think Jalen will appreciate this, is this thing. When this docuseries is over, if you look at everything that Michael Jordan is and everything that he has put on display, it comes back to the Detroit Pistons, the bad boys. Because when he talks about what shaped and what framed his personality, he talks about two things. His brother Larry growing up and how tough of a competitor that guy was and how he helped to make him what he was, along with his father, of course. But then he talked about the wars that he went through. Everybody knows when Michael Jordan is talking about wars, he's talking about the Detroit Pistons. That's what helped make him what he is today. At some point in time, even though we talked about it in the past over the last several weeks with Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, Rodman, Sally, and others, the bottom line is we're going to have to get back to that, because that ultimately had a lot to do with what Michael Jordan ultimately became as that competitor, that teammate. He was always great, but there are certain things that propel you to another level, and the bad boy Pistons certainly did that for him.
I agree. That shaped him. And I, to the previous thing you were saying there about slowing him down, I mean, the legendary Dan Patrick line from the SportsCenter of that era, you can't stop Michael Jordan, you only hope to contain him. But Jalen, would you imagine Gary Payton, when he saw that last night, is he offended? Like, if you're Gary Payton, are you mad this morning?
Gary doesn't care at all. And as somebody that's been on the floor, both of those guys, Gary Payton has the #1 potty mouth in the history of NBA basketball. He was saying things on the floor, Greeny, I thought we was in the alley in Detroit playing rec ball. Like, I was like, oh, okay. And so for Gary, an all-time great player, a Hall of Famer, and by the way, his calling card was defense.
Yeah.
So if there was somebody that was going to slow down Jordan for any period of time, it would be a guy like Gary Payton. But you don't make it to that level without having some level of irrational confidence. Yep. But if you're Gary Payton, it kind of seems like a reality, because this is what you do to get yourself to be an all-time great.
Stephen A., but Michael's laughing at him on national TV. Yeah.
Greeny, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's just basketball talk. Everybody knows MJ is the GOAT and everybody's second. But let me tell you something right now. There isn't a player alive who's ever played basketball that would not want Gary Payton as their teammate. That brother had a heart. He had a heart just as big as Michael Jordan. He didn't have Michael Jordan's skill, but Gary Payton was second to no one when it came to what's inside your chest. He wasn't scared of a damn soul, and he was a Hall of Famer and a Hall of Fame defender as well. Jalen knows that.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.